Hi, I am Sankaranarayanan. I am a C certified sound engineer working as assistant professor in Department of Visual Communication, Nehru Arts and Science College, Coimbatore. Today, we are going to look into the basics of sound. We all know we are all hearing many types of sound in and around our life. Sound is a perceived sensation by our ear caused due to the vibration of object or molecules in the atmosphere. So now let's see what are all topics we are going to cover in today's session. In today's session, we are going to cover these topics: fundamentals of sound, sound waves, characteristics of sound, frequency, wavelength, amplitude, envelope, and the structure of ear. So the first topic we are going to cover is about the fundamentals of sound. So what is sound? Basically, sound is a perceived sensation by our ear. The sound is produced due to the vibration of objects or molecules in the air, and those vibrations will reach our ear and the brain will detect those sounds as the sound as we hear. Sound is only a perceived sensation, so it has only got secondary importance when compared to the visual perception. Now we are going to look into the fundamentals of sound. Sound waves begin when an object moves or vibrates in the atmosphere. Sound waves travels through air and they pass on the energy to the nearby molecules. Due to the elasticity of this vibrating object, it moves outward and inward. So when an object moves inward, it is called compression, and when the vibrating object moves outwards, it is called rarefaction. So due to the compression and rarefaction of these molecules, the sound is generated. The rarefaction travels in a similar manner of compression. As the sound waves moves away from the vibrating object, the individual molecules do not advance with the wave, but they vibrate with the object. Waveforms are the graphical representation of different types of signals. First one, wavelength. Wavelength is the physical length through a medium that a sound wave travels a complete cycle. Each frequency has a wavelength, and it denoted in the symbol lambda. Amplitude refers to the level of the sound, or in other words, we can say the loudness. Amplitude refers to the level of signal and that its peak. All waveforms have both a positive and negative peak. Peak means the height of the wave or the intensity of the vibration of the moving object. If the greater height, the greater number of molecules are displaced, and if the peak is low, lower number of molecules are vibrated. Next one is the velocity. Velocity is related to the speed of sound. Sound travels in 332 meters per second or 1120 feet per second. In water, sound travels 4800 feet per second, and in wood, it is 11,700 feet per second. So, in warm air, as the density decreases, the speed of sound will increase, and in cold air, the speed of sound will decrease. We represent the velocity as V is equal to n into lambda. Next one is the frequency. The frequency is the number of vibrations per unit time, or the vibrating object that is vibrating per unit second. Normally, we represent the frequency in the unit hertz. That means our human ear have the capacity to hear the sound ranging from 20 Hz to 20,000 kHz. Next one is the envelope. It is one of the important characteristics of sound. Envelope denotes the sound wave's loudness over a period of time. It is denoted by the four main stages called attack, decay, sustain, and release. We also call the sound envelope as ADSR envelope. Attack is how a sound starts after a sound source has been vibrated. The decay or the delay is the point at which the attack begins to lose its amplitude. Sustain is a period during which a sound volume is maintained, and the release refers to the time and manner in which the sound diminishes or reduces over time. Next, we will be looking into the different audio frequency range. The infrasonic sound will be having the frequency sound range from 0 to 20 Hz. The very low frequency range ranges from 50 to 50 Hz. The low frequency ranges from 20 Hz to 250 Hz. The lower mid, upper mid and the higher frequency ranges from 250 Hz to 20,000 kHz. The very high frequency is between 15 to 25 kHz, and the ultrasonic will be ranging from the frequency range of 20 kHz and more. So, usually the lower mid and the upper mid of the sound will be having our human sound, and the male sound ranges from 250 to 5 kHz and the female sound having the upper mid frequency range from 2 kHz to 5 kHz. Every vibration has a frequency and every frequency has the wavelength. The human ears are capable of hearing these frequencies from 20 Hz to 20 kHz. The exact limit will be 35 to 16 kHz. In Western music, each frequency is divided into an octave. So an octave is an interval between two frequencies in the ratio 2:1. The range of human hearing comes around 10 octave. That means the human hearing range of frequency 20 to 20 kHz is divided by 2 and we get 10 octaves. And these 10 octaves are divided again into three parts. That means the bass, the mid and the high. So as the frequency, the low frequency, the mid frequency and the high frequency. The bass frequency or the octave ranges from 20 Hz to 320 Hz. It is divided into two groups, the lower and the upper bass. The lower bass consists of first and the second octave, that is ranging from 20 to 80 Hz. It consists of a power and no need to give more level, it becomes muddy and boomless. The upper bass ranges from the third and fourth octave around 80 to 320 Hz. Most of the rhythm and percussion instruments with the support instruments, they establish these frequencies. The balance and foundation in the musical structure is coming around this octave. The mid-range ranges from 300 to 5.1 kHz. It is again divided into two groups, that means lower and higher mid. The lower mid consists of the 5th, 6th and the 7th octave ranging from 300 to 2.5 kHz. And these ranges give more sound its intensity. The upper mid consists of 2.5K to 5 kHz and it only consists of the 8th octave. This is the most and important octave regarding sound, because most of the sound having the more intensity and power ranges in this octave. The sensitive frequency to human ear ranges in this frequency. It improves the intelligibility and clarity of the speech and the lyrics. This section is also called the present, or it gives more importance on this range for the impression that it creates in the ear. The next and the last octave comes from 9th and the 10th octave, that is ranging from 5.1 kHz to 20 kHz. Most human hearing does not extend much beyond 60,000 Hz. It contributes the brilliance and speaking and sparkling character of the sound. It introduces the hissy sound and the sibilance. Psychologically, we perceive frequency as pitch and the amplitude as loudness. By covering these sections, you might have known that these are all the characteristics of the sound wave forms. Now, we will be looking into the more in-depth section about the sound.